Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Overturf coming to you with Skill Level Up. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can check out more great content as we release it. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is why your small business friends aren't so excited when you post those things about how everybody should just stay home until all this virus thing is over, and why we're ready to get back to work. And just because we say that doesn't mean we didn't prepare for a slow time. But really, we've got a lot more burden than maybe just the general population. So what I want you to understand, first of all, we're going to do a little bit of a finance lesson here. And first thing that's important for you to understand is 48% of employees in the United States work for or own a small business. So small businesses make up almost half of the United States workforce. So we're talking about a huge segment of the population here when we say this. Half of the new jobs are created by small businesses. So when we think about getting back to work, when we think about, are we just being greedy when we're trying to stay open, when we're trying to get back to work? Well, let's think about some of the dynamics here, because here's some of the options that I have to think about almost every day right now during this time when we're barely bringing in any work, even though we have remained open. When I thought about it, my three options were: option one, lay everybody off and just try to save as much money as I can. That's what a lot of non-business owners are recommending. Just let everybody stay home, get unemployment. Yeah, it sounds great, but there's a couple factors of why I didn't do that. Number one, I don't know if you've seen anything about Florida's unemployment, but people can't even get onto the website. They can't get their unemployment claims. They've been going for weeks without being able to get unemployment. So I wanted to try not to do that. Not that I'm a saint, but I've been on that side of things before in the past, and I don't want my people to have to try to get unemployment and not be able to get their money. And you care about these people. They're your employees. You're around them every day, and you don't want them to have to deal with that. So my first priority was, how can I save their jobs where they don't have to deal with this? I don't want them to have to face that. The other option that I thought about from my viewpoint is, are they going to come back when this is over? Let's say they're getting unemployment, or let's say they find another job if I lay them off. Am I going to be able to get all of them back? What if I'm only able to get half of them back? Well, then that presents its own set of challenges, because let's say I lose half my staff, half of them decide they will come back, things start getting busy again, and now I have to train a whole new, 50% more employees. I have to get them trained and up to speed. And we have all these jobs coming in, but we're not able to take the jobs because our staff's not ready. A lot of you small business guys know it can take 30 days to find a qualified employee. It can take another 30 to 90 days to get that employee making you money where they're trained and ready to go. So you're losing a lot of time if things do pick up in a couple weeks and you don't have a staff ready to go. You're going to lose a lot of time, which equals a lot of money loss. So that's a factor definitely in, do I lay everybody off? The second option I was thinking about was, what if you get everybody to take less hours and you get them all, let's say, 25 hours instead of 40? Well, again, that's a big sacrifice. Some of them might say, well, just lay me off if you're going to do that, because that's not enough money to pay my bills. The government boosted the unemployment, so they're going to get more if they were to get unemployment than to go that route. Again, you're risking losing a lot of good people, and good people can be hard to find. So if you have them, you don't want to risk losing them. So there's another option that didn't sound that appealing to me. Yeah, in an ideal world, everybody takes a little bit less money, but in the real world, people have bills to pay, they have child support to pay, they have all these other things going on in their lives that they can't always take a huge pay cut, and they're going to immediately start looking for something else or get unemployment. Or, as much as you wish employees were loyal as you try to be to them, they're not always going to do that for you. Option three, the one I've tried to go by as best as I can, but again, it's not easy. Pay them for their full hours. So what you're doing here is you're up against the clock. When will the money run out? Paycheck Protection program, these other things that you're hoping you can get in the meantime. You might have seen there's a huge backlog for that. There's money running out, so you can't really for sure count on that. Have you been smart with your money? In my case, I have, but at the same time, I'm against the clock. I have so much money that I can be paying these guys full time, and that's coming out of our reserves. So do I want to be spending my family's future money that we've set aside just to keep our staff on? Well, yeah, I do, but for how long can I sustain that? Can it go for weeks? Yes. Can it go for months? I don't know. And especially when you're bringing in just a fraction of the income that you were before, but yet you still want to keep your bills pretty much the same. You still have to pay your rent, you still have to pay your utilities, you still have to pay all these other bills. They're still going to be coming in. And so if you want to pay your staff at the same time, you really haven't cut a lot of expenses. You have cut your income down quite a bit. So it can be a huge stress for a small business owner. So when will the money run out? So these are the three things that your small business owner friends may not be quite so excited about, just riding this thing out and staying at home until everybody's virus free. They may be a little more stressed out than you recognize right now. So the three things that they've had to think about is, do I lay everybody off? Do I cut hours? Do I lay part of the team off? Do I pay everybody their full hours and then sacrifice, risk my family's income? So it's a big challenge. What do we do during this time? So it's not just as cut and dry as let everybody stay at home, collect unemployment, and then when this is all over, we'll all get back to work. Just isn't that cut and dry for people. So just think about that from a small business viewpoint. If you know a small business owner, they might be dealing with this a little bit different than you are. They might be thinking about this a little bit different. And as I said, 50% of the workforce is basically made up of people that work for or own small businesses. So, and this affects a lot of people's lives right now. It's not just a cut and dry solution like some people want you to think it is. All right, so I hope this was helpful for you non-small business owners to realize what your business owner friends are dealing with, and for you business owners to think about your options. What are you going to do going forward? And I'm curious to know in the comments, how have you decided to handle this? I've seen some people that did just cut their whole staff, and I'm curious if when things do bounce back, what are they going to do? Are they going to try to get those same people back? Are they going to try to get some of those people back? At the same time, can it be a good way to get, a good opportunity to find new people? Because there's going to be a lot of people in the unemployment workforce that are very highly qualified that don't have jobs that you're going to be able to choose from. So it could be a chance to maybe upgrade some of your staff. So what are you thinking of as a small business owner? How are you considering this? And what are you doing going forward to protect your family? Because even if we did prepare for this, we've prepared maybe for bad situations. We've prepared for slow months. Maybe we have a few months set aside for our bills, but we didn't take into account probably that we would have almost zero income coming in. For some of you guys had to close up completely in some of the states, or depending on the type of industry you're in, you've pretty much had to close up completely. So we didn't factor that into our emergency plans. We didn't factor in a restaurant that's going to be spending more than they're making. Our company right now is spending more than we're making. So every day I have to look at the numbers. How long can we stretch this out? What can we do to stretch this out to keep, I want to keep everybody employed. Nobody wants to be the bad guy and send everybody packing. It's not an easy situation. So we can only hope for the best. We can only hope that this thing doesn't last very long and we're all back to work soon. But at the same time, we have to weigh our options right now. What's the best for us? What's the best for our family? What's the best for our employees? The best for our company? And it can be a lot of pressure as a business owner, as a leader, to decide what you're going to do right now. It's not an easy thing to be a small business owner. We face a lot of pressure every day, and employee issues can be a big stressor. Client complaints can be a big stressor. And now we have a new thing thrown in the mix. We have our finances are always a big stressor as a small business owner, but even more so now. So really, how are you dealing with this? What kind of strategies do you have put in place? Do you have a good eye on your money? Do you have a bookkeeper or somebody that's really good with the numbers keeping an eye on your money for you? If not, make sure you get that in place. I have somebody that comes in once a month and looks at our books and just make sure, even though I do a lot of our books myself, they just make sure that I didn't miss anything. It's always good to get a second set of eyes, especially someone that's unbiased from the outside to come in and look at things and make sure you're doing things right. So when tax time rolls around, when situations like this roll around, that you can make sure all your ducks are in a row and you're ready to go. Even things like applying for that Paycheck Protection program really helped having our books kept solid, so I could just instantly shoot out what was required of me. I had those numbers accessible, ready to go, and it was really helpful having a qualified bookkeeper doing that for me, a good accountant doing that stuff for me, a good payroll company. So as you get bigger, make sure you get the right people in your corner. Make sure you have professionals keeping an eye on your money for you, especially if that's not a strong point for you, which a lot of you guys is not. A lot of us know how to produce money, but we don't always know how to manage it well. And that's a skill that you should learn as a small business owner. But also, while you're learning it, make sure you have people in your corner that are helping you out with that. So that's my advice for today. Let's think about our options going forward. Do you want to get rid of, do you need to get rid of some staff? There might be some that you have to get rid of right now. The survival of your business is important. So sometimes that oxygen mask has to go on you first, and you have to make sure you're alive so you can help everybody around you. So sometimes we have to make those tough decisions to make sure that our business survives, so that more people can save their jobs. It's not always an easy decision. So are you going to have to let some people go? If not, how are you going to manage that with your family? Can you look your family in the eye and say, sorry, your college fund's gone, but we kept John as an employee? That's going to be a tough conversation to have too. So it's not an easy decision, like I said, but you're really going to have to look at the numbers. You're going to have to try to not make an emotional decision, but at the same time consider people's feelings and make the best for you going forward, because you're also going to have to live with these employees going forward. If you make some really rash, really hard decisions right now, that can impact the way people in your community perceive you. It could impact the way these employees perceive you and talk about you. So you also have to think about that, your reputation, because if you plan on being in business for a long time, how are you going to be seen in the community? If you make the tough calls, yes, but don't do it in the wrong way where it's going to impact you long term. So just some things to think about. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments. All right, peace out, guys. I'll talk to you later.